So if something difficult happens, you should be trying to work to get rid of the difficulty, or get rid of the guilt, or get rid of the blame, or the overindulgence, or whatever. But if it goes negative, you could be working to get more, and keep perpetuating the complex. There's a choice here, but it usually comes from our maturity when we fed up. How do you finish a meal one mouthful before you're full? How do you not have that second piece of chocolate cake or ice cream or dessert? It takes time to learn those things. Some people can do it. Some people have great difficulty doing it. But the Venus touching the IC means there's difficult emotional challenges that are going to personally, deeply affect that person, both at home within and at career without. Okay, so you see the influence, then you look to see, is it conjuncting? If it's conjuncting, it's going to be from the 3rd or 4th house. It's going to be very personal. If it's squaring, it could come from the 1st. It could come from the 1st or probably 2nd, 1st, 12th, 11th, depending on where it is. You can see how high up Venus is to how far out in the world, how much the outside is going to affect you. The outer valleys will affect you. Your standard is where Venus is in your chart. That's what you want to try and make your choices. So that's really whether your Venus is rising or setting, you can see how your Venus is supposed to work, and then you start to see how is that working? How is it affecting my IC? Am I living up to it or not? Am I doing it well? Am I getting things right or not? And nobody else can judge. It's your personal thing. One person can be bought a pet and hate it. Another person can be bought a pet and just love it. Another person can be bought a pet and be on and off about it. It's a wide scope of differences. But in seeing this main core, when you look at a chart, it alerts you to things. So you're getting the main factor of the IC. You have to live your IC. You begin to see the distractions or the temptations or the challenges that come up that disturb your personal, that dump things on your IC, that extra factors you have to consider. Extra factors that are influencing your motivation and your inner integrity. Okay, so when the sun comes up, if the sun's conjunct, square, opposed it, if the sun's there, your midnight chart, and the sun's opposed it, it's not midheaven, so this is your sun really, how high it is, whether it's low, when it's below the horizon, above, or really different. Each house has a different level going up the ICMC line. And the higher it is, the more prominent outwardly your sun has to be. And the more you're going to take it personally if you're up there or if you're not there. If you get the feedback or it's working, you're going to personally feel good. That was the destiny. If it was bad, how could that be? You're going to take your confidence is coming wherever the sun is. But if you have the conjunction or square or opposition to your IC, any struggle with your confidence is going to it's going to affect you deeply. It's going to affect that IC, that personal motivation, and that's going to affect how you project out each day, what you project out each minute in the world. So someone sees you and smiles and is radiating and giving you that light, you're affected. Even if you have the square and opposition, you may say, wow, that's a strong influence, and you may be even defensive about it. But generally, everybody has a relationship with the IC to the sun, no matter what degree. So we get good, radiant, confident energy. It affects our motivation. Somebody happy is contagious. How can you not be happy if other people are not? You have to be really negative to disassociate if you're feeling negative and someone's happy around you without letting go of your negativity to smile with them. Somebody funny, how do you not laugh? You can be in the greatest pain and someone laughs. What would be, okay, once I'm sitting in my office and I had a client and I'm talking to a client friend, we're talking, it's gone past the consultation, so we're just talking. Another friend who was a client that was always kind of manic depressive, he walks in the door, comes in the door and says, we say, hey, how you doing? And he says, do you know, my mother just died. But this is a guy who put every worry would be put out on you, and you're always having to take it. And the other person was saying, no, but if you hum a few bars, I'll try and pick up the tune. So there's a moment dead silence, because he said, well, how could he say such a thing? And in a second, we're all laughing. It took the pressure off the moment, and we're all laughing. So the humor was a very healing thing against, oh yeah, I'm so sorry, you're sad. It threw it around and did, why bring it here? Like, come on. So this is it. It's not just a symbol. These things work into life. They happen in experience. And you want to get your experiential memory or perceptiveness alert and alive. And as you're learning astrology, you're recapturing the understanding of your life. You're recapturing, you're making it come alive again to the potentials on the good, the bad, the ugly, the dumb, the dumbest, whatever. It's all there. But it's yours. It forces a new responsibility because you can make it work or not make it work. When there's squares and oppositions, they always mean a little extra effort or there's some tension there. So if the confidence is hitting the IC, that's a powerful factor that really, I have to do something. It's forcing you to be motivated so you can be confident. And really, it's really when you're not confident, when the sun is struggling to be confident, it really has a negative effect on your motivation. So if someone gets an addiction and they're not confident to get out of it, it's just that negative side keeps affecting your motivation. It makes it harder and harder for the confidence to work. Really, the confidence is a separate thing than the IC. But this motivation point, it's affected by everything. Whatever you put out comes back. Whatever rises, sets. And where does it rise from? The IC. Where does it set to? It sets to the IC. And when you sleep at night, you're integrating the whole package. Then you got to get up and do things. How many days is our motivation really clear or really that specific? Sometimes for a while. Those are things, these things get affected by transits and progressions and how often these get triggered off. Okay. When you start going to the outer planets of how you put energy out, you think Mars is just simple. You put energy out, you use your strength, you use your force, you got to do things, you got to exercise, you got to move, you got to be in shape or not. And depending whether you're in shape or not or what you're doing, if you have the square or the opposition or the conjunction to the IC, force and power and arguments and anger and disruptions are going to affect your motivation. Anyone angry, anyone forced, you getting angry, you say something, you get mad at something, it's really going to affect what you're doing. Regardless of what you're doing outside, you're still going to see it. But if the Mars is below the horizon, it's usually within yourself this anger comes up. If it's above the horizon, it really is running into other people and other interferences and competing outwardly. But one, you're getting yourself to prepare and putting yourself together, you're putting things out, you're getting yourself together, you can see you can do it, but it doesn't mean other people are going to listen. But whether you're doing it or not, that Mars aggression, that forcefulness, that assertiveness, you're going to be motivated by assertiveness and really personally sensitive over winning or losing, or whether you're the hammer or the nail. You know, sometimes we get hammered, sometimes we get nailed. You know, like, or it's sometimes we hammer, sometimes we nail, but we put things out. How many in the 24 hours, a long time in a day, and this is working every minute of every day. So how do you get through a day without using force and strength properly all the time? Usually we have the strength, we have to recharge, we put out, we have to catch our breath, we take a walk, we sit down, we run, we push. It's so many things we're doing. Just standing up and moving our body, muscles. As Mark said, the IC is going to be tied to your muscles and what you do and what you don't do and the battles you run into and the struggles you run into and the effort you have to make. So you're almost going to assume when the Mars is hitting the IC, the person's going to be fighting to deal with the pressures. They're going to be taking these things personally. They're going to be a little more almost assertive or angry either dishing the energy out or taking it in. Of course, when Mars is on the rising side of your chart, all the basic interpretations of Mars and all the factors, Mars on the rising side of the chart, you're going to be putting in. Mars on the setting side, you're going to be taking it in, receiving it more. And if it's in the I, me signs, you're really putting it out. If it's in the we, us signs, it was for someone else. They pick up, but you're seeing how energy, if Mars is up in your midheaven, oh yeah, it's great, push for career. But you push so hard for career, what's left at home? What's left for you personally? Are you just motivated for the boss? Or the status or accomplishment? You're working so hard, you don't have time to go home and have a good night's sleep? Or a decent life? It's amazing things we have to do because, oops, we did something, we have kids. Oh, we got to take care of the kids. Oh, we have to do this. I have to take this job. I have to do things. So many textures of how Mars can in. But when you slow it down, you look day to day, it's just my motivation to my energy. And I'm going to have some anger management. And I'm going to have to do something physical to burn this energy off. And often you're going to expect there'll be arguments, there'll be bullies, there'll be fights, there'll be struggles going on. Or you'll be bullying. Like, it can come from you or to you. But that Mars energy, which by seeing the signs and the categories, by seeing the houses and categories, you have a sense of how that Mars is supposed to work that way. But as it works that way, it can be gross, semi-refined, or refined, or elevated, or even divine. The idea is to get it out of the gross up to more divine. But when you have the square there, or the opposition, or even the conjunction, you're motivated so much by force, it's do or die. It's do, push, or react. It's like, it's win or lose. It's not a compromising situation. It's a little pushy, abrasive factor in a person's life that deeply affects their motivation. So how do you reach someone in motivation? You have to get past the anger, past the irritation, the impatience. If someone had a stutter and they have trouble to speak, and it's hard to listen to them. Often, like, it can come from a Mars to the IC is not going to make it more calm. It's going to be trying to push, and it's almost could be making the problem. Depends on some of the aspects of how good or bad you're using your Mars. So the energy we put out, even when we're the first 6 months of our life, what we put out, even though we're helpless and we're just there, we put out energy, it affects so much of our life. A colicky baby puts out this anger for several months for most of their progressions, and all their life, their mom and dad realized how difficult they were to start with. Doesn't mean it can't turn right, but that factor is still there. Okay, so when you put the IC, like, I think the IC is the most important point. Yeah, like, other than the sun and the moon, you have to see where you're coming from and how each planet affects it. You know, and even if someone's trying to figure out their career and what they have to accomplish, how much do you have to compromise your personal depth to get out there? It's enough that you use all your energy, and by the time you get out there, you lose your personal motivation because the outside starts demanding what you do, and you can only do that for a while. This very same pattern is played out as transits move around, as progressions move along, how much these battles of putting out, taking in, affect our motivation and affect the other angles.